Lance Hedrick got one, and now, so do I. What's heavy? Oh no. She not a lightweight. Okay, shielding me from my light now. Woo! When I say so do I mean a custom white Breville Dual Boiler. Although mine is really just a cosmetic facelift, I did, however, do the Slayer mod for flow control, which I will link in the description down below. So technically, I guess it is a customized Breville Dual Boiler. Let's turn it this way. If you've watched any of my videos related to the Breville Dual Boiler, it's no secret that I find the design very meh. I wanted to do a very simple cosmetic mod, blend into my kitchen a little bit more because my kitchen is just very white. I found that this big stainless steel piece, or stainless steel looking, just didn't fit in that well. I wanted something simple, as in I didn't want to remove any panels, I didn't want to disassemble it, I didn't want to like paint it. The simplest way to do this was to wrap it in vinyl for about $30 US, about $40 Canadian. Couple of other really basic tools you probably have, a few hours in an afternoon. You can also customize your Breville Dual Boiler or any of your espresso machines really with whatever color you want. Beetle iridescent color, you can go in gold. And it'll also protect you from scratches. And it's reversible. My first application was not great, took it off, did it again. This white vinyl is actually special vinyl. It's meant for cars. It also is really great for this type of work because it can be stretched and bend around different curves, which you will have to do. This one specifically, that I will link in the description down below, has air release technology, which makes it a lot easier to apply. Air release technology has like these little funnels all everywhere so that you can easily get the air bubbles out and push them out and they will find their way through those little channels. You may start using it everywhere in your home. If I ever want to change the color of some of my fancy expensive appliances, I may just vinyl wrap them. I actually ended up using it also on a planter that I have at home. Here's what you're gonna need. Your vinyl material, some sort of precision cutter. I'm actually going to link a great one in the description down below that'll be perfect for this particular job. That will give you lots of additional clean blades to use. A Sharpie or a marker or any pen really to mark your vinyl. A cutting mat is probably gonna help. Don't cut your surfaces. A heat gun or hair dryer would work. And some sort of squeegee. Credit card could work. If you've applied a cell phone screen recently, this piece of cardboard with felt comes with it. This is actually perfect. It basically emulates a less professional version of the one that my friend had. If you're using some sort of credit card, just be careful about the corners to not nick into the vinyl. Clean the surfaces that you're going to stick the vinyl on, but you may as well just clean everything while you're at it. Probably needs a good cleaning. The first thing you're gonna do is you're going to cut the piece for your panel. I went with the side parts here just because they are the flattest and easiest to deal with compared to the rest of the machine, other than perhaps the front, which I could have also done, but have not. The vinyl pieces that I cut, I went with a 16 by 18 inches for here, so I would have excess to go around. The second step is to cut the holes out because you got this knob and this knob. So the hole that you gonna cut out is gonna be a 4.1 centimeters on both sides. We're gonna lay out your vinyl onto the panel and try to center it along so that you have a little bit of excess on all of the sides. And then mark where the knob is on a flat surface. You'll be able to actually make a hole of 4.1 centimeters. Use a compass, use something around your house, draw it online and then print it at 100%. Mark it on the back side of the vinyl. And you want to put it on the back side because otherwise you may have some of the marks on your vinyl on the good side, and that would kind of suck. I vinyl wrapped my espresso machine 3 times on 2 panels, and overall I did a pretty good job, though I did make some mistakes. And despite editing a full tutorial, I wasn't 100% thrilled with the work or the explanation, and I wanted to be sure that this tutorial was perfect. So I called my buddy Kane from TopWrap to help out. He is a pro vinyl car wrapping guy, and if ever you're looking to get your car wrapped from the best of the best in Montreal, he is your guy, and I would not trust anyone else. So I'm gonna let the pro handle this one.
We're gonna start off with the circle that you actually cut here. So this is actually the hardest part of this machine. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna tackle that part first. So I'm gonna peel this back just a little bit. I'm gonna cut this away. Cut this away. So now I don't have to fight with the vinyl sticking to itself while I'm trying to fit it through the hole. Start off like this. There we go. Nice and tight. Just make sure that you have enough everywhere else. And we're good to go. So first thing you want to do is you want to just solidify where you're going to be wrapping this circle. So that's good. Just kind of pass your finger all around it so it doesn't move while you're doing the other stuff. And notice how I pull it so that it becomes flat before I pass my finger. So see, there's excess material, the material's kind of bunching up. I'll pull it till it's kind of flat. Cool, right? All right, kids, get ready. Right now, I'm just gonna get a little bit more material. I'm just gonna pull this off. So just pull it a little bit just to make it flat. With this type of vinyl, you don't need to worry about it leaving air. You can use this type of squeegee if you want to look like a pro.
Or credit card.
Credit card works. A little felt. So we want to make our job easier. Just cut a little section off here. Make a little C.
C for cut.
Yeah. And now what you want to do is you kind of want to just pick it up and just aim for the corner and hook it, kind of like a bed sheet. And that is going to make your film want to shrink the right way. Gonna cut up this little bunch up here. So what you can do is you can heat from where it's still stuck towards the corner. Heat outwards. And what I would do is I would just take my finger and kind of hook that corner right there.
Are you stretching?
Yeah, I'm stretching. Yeah. And then the idea is you want to be able to shrink the edges down. So because of that stretch, I can shrink these edges down. And this material actually is really nice for stretching because it's super soft. So sometimes you don't have to apply too much heat. You see how it kind of just shrinks back and wraps the edge by itself like that? That's kind of what you want to see. So this corner too, we're just going to check it, make sure it's nice. So this little buildup of material here, pick it up. Make it nice and tight. So that's pretty much the hardest part of this espresso machine. I moved all the material here. So you see this? So the wrinkles are now here. I'm moving the excess material into the dip here. So usually for a dip or something that goes in, you need to stretch material into there. But instead, I'm moving the material so that it places nicely inside that dipped area. Here, you have to usually stretch it. See how it's tight? So I'm trying to move the material from here into where it's normally tight so that it needs to stretch less to get inside. That's kind of the logic behind it. Like even here now, I would move material in this way. So always into the dips and away from corners. Even in here, like I'll pick it up and I'll move material into there, you see? I just pivoted the material. I picked it up, I'm stretching the bottom to bring more into the top, you see? I'm taking it and I'm shifting it like this. And you see how the material is kind of going more with horizontally now with the body line? This is good, you see how it kind of wants to wrap itself on the bottom? The key is you really need to relax it. if the piece is there, you really want it to be like, see how it reacts to heat? You want the material to like kind of go back into its natural state. Give it a nice little tug going towards that way. Aim for the corner. Aim for this corner. And I always work like outwards. As I'm going here, I'm not gonna bring material back here. I'm always gonna stretch outwards to make things a bit tighter. If I did my job properly, it will just shrink. Yeah, see? This is kind of what you want. You want to just like shrink and place itself. What I'm gonna do is, again, see the corner?
Yeah.
So I'm gonna squeegee, it's always like away from the corner. Start at the corner, move the material in, and where am I going?
To
the dip. Yeah, exactly. Trying to just bring material in there, just so it's more relaxed. And this is kind of a trick that you can do too. Hold down into the corner and heat the two sides. So heat here and heat here. As I heat this, it's gonna soften this. So what's gonna happen is it's gonna automatically stretch the material into that area. The cool thing is I'm not actually heating that corner.
Right.
So that's the biggest mistake people do.
Oh.
Is they heat this corner.
Oh.
So they stretch this material in here. And if you like zoom in on a microscopic level, how much you're stretching that material there, it's a lot.
And then it'll unstretch.
Exactly.
And it'll mess up. It'll come off.
The key is to move the material into the corner. Because of how I pulled the tension, when the heat hits it, it will automatically like wrap it. So you can even do some relief cuts if you want to make this like easier. So like there's quite a bit of tension here. You can always cut this material. It's getting in the way. See? So now it's even less tension for you to get in there. Yeah, if you want to do like a heat check and just want to make sure that like you got right to the edge, for example. And there you go. Try to make sure you got right to the edge. So I can always split it like this, so it makes it really, really loose. Then from this point on, it's just cutting is one of the hardest things in vinyl wrap. A lot of people actually have trouble cutting because they don't know where to cut from. You can wrap the piece really, really, really good, and then you can get to your cut and you can mess it up just because your cut wasn't great. So I'm just gonna wrap it right to the edge on all the pieces. What I'll do is I'll do a relief cut. So what would look nicer is if you can kind of align it more with this, this here.
The black?
Yeah, you gotta work around this. Hit it with some heat, let it relax.
Relax and like shrink if it has to, I guess.
Yeah,
Go back to
exactly.
its original state.
So if you want to make this really pretty, just line it up right with that line there. And if you guys are not comfortable cutting on anything, which I would probably think you guys aren't, I would lift it up in the air and cut it. But because I'm used to cutting on objects without cutting them, I'm gonna cut it like this so I can get a nice line. Then we're gonna flip this over, put this on top. And we were never there. It's kind of important when you guys are doing this cut that you guys have it fully wrapped onto the top edge. You don't want to push it in and then cut because you're gonna tuck it in after. So if I tucked it in here and I didn't tuck it in here, when I cut it, it's gonna be a wavy line. So you kind of want it all flat, nice and even. If you have this, snap your blade. It's good. Run the blade right along the edge of the top. Kind of important that you guys feel comfortable when you guys are cutting. Hit it with a heat. Shrink my corners. From the corner, work the material inside. The trick to doing this is just making sure you run your blade on the outside edge, so the outside piece, as you're cutting. And I just stopped here because I noticed that this piece is not fully wrapped. So before you finish your cut, just make sure that all the vinyl is stuck exactly where you want it. Little tip, guys, don't cut hot vinyl. Sometimes it's too soft. Again, I'm gonna snap my blade. Sometimes it's too soft and it won't cut nice. I rather always make sure I'm running a sharp blade. It's much better. You never want to get to a spot and you're like, oh, is my blade sharp? I'm just gonna make sure I'm running on this edge. These ones are NT cutters, yes. Oh yeah, there we go. This is a very fine line to follow. It was such a nicely cut circle, you just push the material inside. Whoever cut this circle did an amazing job. Whoever's behind the camera right there. Yeah, so there's no cutting required, just kind of put it in there.
And the knob can still move freely?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, of course.
Okay, here are some possible mistakes and what not to do. Don't stretch the vinyl more than 10%. Essentially, don't stretch it more than it wants to. Overly stretching the vinyl and in the wrong direction, like in these photos that I sent my friend, the red one being the bad one, the green one being the correct one, the vinyl may want to bounce back to its original shape if it was not well applied, and it may look bad after the first 24 hours have passed. So this goes right directly into my tips. Perhaps wait 24 hours before cutting to see if anything is wrinkling or coming off or trying to bounce back to its original shape and is not exactly looking quite right. That'll give you some maneuverability and some adjustment to be able to play with the material and pick up and fix if necessary. And also, yeah, don't be afraid to pick it up and move it again. In fact, oftentimes you need to. This is an organic kind of shape. You need to go with it. Lift your machine up to easily cut your excess off. Like my friend Kane said in the video, you want to be comfortable when you are cutting. So that means lifting the machine up, angling it a little bit, and being able to get nice, clear view and angles underneath and all around while you're cutting. On the topic of cutting, make sure that you're using a clean, new, sharp blade.
Sometimes it's too soft and it won't cut nice.
The most difficult part is all of the corner wrapping at the front edge. And so your corners may mess up and might stick out a little bit and wrinkle. And you can fix it by scoring off really gently the piece that's in front. So don't actually cut through the material. Then take off the old wrap and then put another thin piece over that overlaps the cutoff piece and then some. Bend it over, just cut off the excess. I hope that this video was helpful, gave you some inspiration or entertained, gave you some ideas perhaps for vinyling everything in your home now. Newfound love with my Breville Dual Boiler like this. And if you are interested in checking out that Slayer mod tutorial, the link is right here in front of my Breville Dual Boiler for you to check out. See you in the next one.